Jim, Jim, Chicky. Okay, she's sitting.
Hello.
Wait, what would she do if she saw herself? Oh my god, who's that? She doesn't care. She walks away. Okay. And then she edges his hell.
Mhm. All right, we're back. Wait, I gotta get the angle. We're in the angle. Took a while to get that angle.
You found the angle.
There it is. Bam.
There you
Okay, so what we're about to do is watch a video clip. And this video clip is Michael Saylor, the CEO of
go.
MicroStrategy, a an investment company that's been championing Bitcoin for the institutions. And I'm talking about large institutions. MicroStrategy is one of the main guys that first took the chance of buying Bitcoin. I think this was around July of 2020, July last year. And so when he first purchased $425 million worth of Bitcoin, and that was the first uh, big company or multi-billion dollar company uh, to make a huge entrance into Bitcoin. And since then, his investment has yielded massive profits for him. So it's spurred the interest of other multi-billion dollar companies like Tesla and I believe um, Oracle to make
Mhm.
investments in Bitcoin and some other million dollar companies that we don't know about or that are not on the news. These are the ones that we're aware of. Anyway, so I found a clip here where he was in an interview and he was asked a question about what's the future, what's in it for working class America? How does Bitcoin liberate working class America? And he poses the question like, what do we want? What does America want? Do people want a job or do they want to retire at 40, buy a bond, and just live happily ever after doing what they want and never have to work again? They can spend time painting or hang out with their children. And he goes into a very, what I find to be an articulate explanation of why people need to get into Bitcoin today, not tomorrow. Like, and I'm gonna play it for you guys, and we're gonna review it. You ready?
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so I'm trying to screen here. Grab it, share
Yeah.
from. Mm-hmm. Right, hit play. Let's go.
You don't want cheap
There you
pizza
go.
and you don't want free streaming YouTube and Netflix for after work again. If what you want
All right, let that pass. Please.
Mm-hmm.
for
We're in the
after work
audience.
again. If what you want is Social Security and you want to be able to retire early at age 40 and paint and live with your family and enjoy your life, you don't want cheap pizza and you don't want free streaming YouTube and Netflix. That's patronizing. I don't want to work till I'm 80 and have cheap YouTube. What I want is to work till I'm 40, buy a bond, and stop working.
Yeah.
And if I have to buy an asset. And so the pernicious issue is that the inflation rate of assets it was 8% a year from 2010 to 2020. It was 35% from March of 2020 to March of 2021. And if you're working, if you're 21 years old and you've got a job earning cash, you just saw your assets inflate by 25 or 30%. That's the risk of inflation. So once you understand that,
So people don't know.
then you realize if you wish to preserve your wealth or to create wealth, the number that matters is the cost of capital, i.e. the asset inflation rate, which is equal to the S&P 500 index return or the M2 money supply, roughly speaking. And if you're not actually able to keep up, stay ahead of that, you're getting poorer. So
Most people don't understand that if your income has not kept up with inflation and he's pegging it
Right.
at 25 or 30% over that span of time, you're just basically working for free. You're getting poorer.
Yeah, you're getting poorer and poorer. Most people don't realize that because the thing is they're constantly taking out more debt and yeah, we
Buying
have more
finer things.
technology and so we're either just buying more stuff. Well, most of us are consumers, so we just continuously do our thing. We're buying and buying and
But it's
buying
costing more
stuff.
to buy those things.
It is. And most of us, I think that's why now it's like everywhere offers financing. If you want a computer, you can get it financed.
Yep.
You buy anything from Best Buy, you can take it out with their Best Buy credit card.
So
So
that,
they always offer you that. And like every department store does the same thing. Macy's, JCPenney.
so America is in debt to the T.
Yeah.
So that's how you don't recognize that.
Yeah, we don't realize that we're
That
actually
there's massive
making
inflation
way less
going on.
money.
All right, let's go back to the video.
So if you're a laborer, if you have a job and your salary didn't go up by 25% in the last 12 months, you got weaker. You got poorer, right? The government doesn't want to use 25% as the inflation rate because they don't want to give every federal employee a 25% raise. And so they'll say, well, it's only 1%, there's no inflation yet. But then again, if every house in America on average, according to Case-Shiller index, went up by 11% this year, how is that 1%? Well, you just don't want to buy a house. That's not for you, right? These are not the droids you're looking for. It's patronizing, and it just reminds me of this one famous phrase. All of our research shows us we can't tell people what to think, but we can tell them what to think about. And so if I just repeat CPI, there's no inflation, there's no CPI, CPI is inflation, there's no inflation, CPI, there's no inflation, we're waiting for CPI. If I keep repeating that, you'll agree with me. But meanwhile, the Fed prints $1 trillion, the stock market spikes, and people don't say, oh my God, assets have inflated, there's hyperinflation in assets. What they say is, oh, we're brilliant, the stock market's going up, isn't that great? Well, it's not great for people with cash. By the way, here's the problem. It's not great for any company that's valued based on fiat cash flows, i.e. every value stock. If you have a stock valued based on future cash flows, and if the discount rate is equal to the M2 money supply, and if it goes to 15% a year, you have to discount the cash flows 15% a year. And so what you realize is if you're printing money, all of those value stocks can't possibly they can't hold value. And so you're destroying the wealth in the equity markets over the long term while you're losing it in the near term. And ultimately, you're going to create this massive stampede to a store of value that is not real estate, that is not bonds, that is not cash, that is not value stocks, that is going to be what? GameStop, super high tech, high flyer, speculative stocks, the SPACs, and then that drives people out of the system. And so you have to then look at either gold or Bitcoin. And, the answer is Bitcoin, not gold. And if you bought gold, you got destroyed. But if you bought Bitcoin, you did well. And all of that.
When he said if you buy gold, you get destroyed, and if you buy Bitcoin, you did well. Why is gold not the asset?
Because I think that the gold market is being manipulated. It's not clear how much gold there is out there, or if it's even finite. There's so many derivative markets. Basically, Bitcoin is a whole different ball game, a whole different thing here, where there's a finite amount of it. Um, Everything is transparent. It's decentralized. It acts as a way better store of value compared to gold. Okay, it's portable, as in I can use Bitcoin to buy coffee, but when was the last time you saw anyone use gold to buy coffee? You
Mhm.
know, I
Mhm.
can send Bitcoin across borders in mere minutes.
But the
You
thing
can't
is, like,
send Bitcoin. You can't send the gold to anyone.
right.
You know?
But like, I mean, that's never stopped people before. Gold has, in the past been like what you invest in because that's gonna hold value
See,
instead of,
it served
yeah,
its
yeah.
purpose back then.
Okay.
When yes, if you had physically in your possession trinkets of gold, you are a wealthy person.
Right.
But we've digitized. We're no longer in those world again. We don't need to carry like the less physical things that you own,
So it's
the
just like
better.
we've just moved forward, and so yeah,
We are,
it doesn't necessarily make gold less of a thing, or
no, the metal is still there, but we don't
but
ascribe that much value into it in any more than the previous generations did. We
okay.
don't care much for it. Like most
Now that we have digital money, why do we care? Let's go there. That's where the
exactly,
future is.
exactly. The internet is the future. The internet is now, and the internet needs a currency, and Bitcoin is that currency. We use our phones. We're all married to our phones. Already droids. We're part human, part virtual. We live in both worlds already. The future is gonna find us living more and more in that world, and in that world, there needs to be a means of exchange of value,
Hmm.
and Bitcoin does that. So anyway, let's keep on moving.
Okay.
That's being driven by monetary policy. But I think if you ask me that question now, today, thinking from first principles, I have to say the Federal Reserve and the EU Central Bank have tripled the cost of capital. And that's made your investment decision much easier. What they've done is they put 95% of every company underwater. Most companies can't grow their cash flows 25% a year. It's literally impossible to do without taking on insane risk. And so why is Tesla working? Because people are looking for hyper growth that they think is not going to be, that's going to grow more than 25%. It's going to change the world. And if I don't like that, I go buy GameStop, and otherwise, what are you going to buy? Big tech? You can buy big tech, but they're all tech monopolies. Will Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Google going to be able to, can they raise their prices 25% a year for every year for the next 8 years without regulators doing something about that? Maybe. That's your bet. Otherwise, Angela, I guess the real issue is, I would say, the fundamental, most important question every investor has today is you take a spreadsheet and you write the years 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 on it. And then you put in the percentage increase in the money supply that you expect the Fed or the EU central bank to print, and really just the Fed. And if you put in a number 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, you're an optimist, right? And then you've got 1,000 complicated choices. But if you put in a number 15, 15, 15, 15, 15, you can't buy bonds, you can't buy real estate, you can't buy 95% of stocks. And if you put in a number 20, 20, 20, if you think that the currency is going to weaken by 20%, all you can do is buy scarce assets, trophy assets, scarce art, Bitcoin, something which is not correlated to fiat cash flows, because everything else has been debased to the point that a million pages of information and strategy are all irrelevant. The models are all irrelevant. Everything you've learned in 30 years is all irrelevant. That best example, what are you going to buy in Venezuela or Zimbabwe if currency collapses? It's going to work. And the answer is nothing. Nothing. If you're in Argentina and the peso slides from 3 pesos to the dollar to 150 pesos to the dollar, which is what happened in the last 10 years, there is no investment strategy, no money manager in Argentina, no portfolio of stocks, bonds, equity, derivatives, real estate, nothing which is going to work other than this one thing. You convert your pesos into dollars, you forward finance all your cash flows, you finance all your fixed assets, you issue as much equity as you can in pesos, you issue as much debt unsecured in pesos, convert it all to dollars, put it into a bank outside the control of the Argentine government so that they can't convert it back into pesos and be basic. And that's the only strategy. And what I just described in a nutshell is the strategy of buying Bitcoin. Right? Bitcoin's a bank in cyberspace. It's a hard asset. I take my money, I convert it to Bitcoin, I put it in the bank in cyberspace, and then I'm indifferent to how much currency gets printed by the Federal Reserve.
Will Taproot make the Bitcoin blockchain fast and scalable?
We'll see. And I think that over time, Taproot will make the Bitcoin blockchain better.
Could it compromise
I fall in the category of people that thinks the Bitcoin network is already good enough to hold $100 trillion worth of monetary energy, and we should make it better carefully and in a responsible fashion and prudently. And yeah, it should upgrade, but it doesn't need to go fast, and it's not needful of anything to be successful. So I wouldn't rush it, but I wouldn't stop it either. I would just be very careful in moving forward.
And I guess related to that question, does the Taproot compromise the security of the Bitcoin network?
I don't think it's going to compromise the security of the network. I think that the upgrades in Taproot will make the network better if properly implemented.
Listen, that was beautifully done. That explanation right there. I just want to tell you, I didn't really know Michael Saylor before, but I get his level of understanding of what he's doing and the brazenness in approaching uncharted territory with a lot of money. I mean, he's risking a lot. Is what separates him from the rest. That's what makes him how much that wealthy, and he's going to be even more wealthy. Yeah. He's currently bought so far over 90,000 Bitcoin.
That's a lot.
Between July and now, he's accumulated that many Bitcoin.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Imagine how wealthy this guy is going to be in the future.
Oh my gosh.
It's legacy money, level of wealth.
Yeah.
We're watching the JP Morgan of back in the 40s, and what was it, like steel and the kind of this business, that type of that level, that size of corporation. We're watching that happen.
I mean, obviously, there's definitely in the end, you know, like he's gonna purchase more.
So that's a huge investment, and I have to respect that. I think that's what the case he laid down, which he beautifully did, was a way out for middle America. If you're if your goal is to retire early so you can reclaim your time, which is an invaluable asset that you have, a finite one at that, he basically tells you to finance, sell, whatever you do, start accumulating Bitcoin right now. That's basically what he said.
Yeah.
Take out unsecured debt and buy Bitcoin. Sell whatever stuff that you have in the house, even if it's at a discount, buy Bitcoin because it's gonna appreciate faster than any of those things that you've bought. You see what I'm saying? Like some people who are paying debt on just like bad debt, whether it's a car, an expensive car that you shouldn't be driving,
or all the cool stuff you buy,
all the cool shoes, sneakers, all that, all the jewelry.
Yeah.
Sell that stuff, buy Bitcoin, or even You can even take out debt on it if you want and buy
Mhm.
Bitcoin. That's basically what he's
I mean,
saying.
taking out debt to buy an asset that is going to appreciate, and that's smarter than taking out debt to purchase, just stuff.
Shoes.
Yeah, shoes,
And a lot of
very
and
expensive
most
shoes.
America, most middle America take out debt to buy shoes. Hence basic credit card like we were talking about earlier.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, all that cool name brand stuff that we have now, and I mean, like the shoes keep getting more expensive, the jeans are more expensive.
And they're quick to
Yet,
give you debt to buy it.
yeah, because they're just like, oh, we'll give you 20% off if you open a new credit card with us today. And you're like, oh God, I could really use that 20% off. Thank you. And I'll take 20% APR.
So they just keep moving this debt around.
Yeah.
Everyone's in debt. The only way to reverse that course right now is to start buying Bitcoin, even if you have to take debt to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. That debt will pay for itself.
Exactly.
The
Because this is
jeans won't.
yeah, the jeans one.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it's like somehow that's gonna lead to a better job or a better situation.
No, realistically, the jeans would. The jeans
Probably
won't.
not.
But your best bet is to start accumulating Bitcoin. We are. So that's the message for tonight. We're gonna cut it short right here. It's a pleasure bringing this value to you. I hope you watch it in time to find value. Because the earlier you jump in, the better. I mean, it's at 55,000 now.
This would be a great investment, just like Bitcoin.
You don't have to buy one. You can buy whatever you can afford. Just get exposure into it. Start accumulating.
Start
And let's
accumulating what views on our videos.
start accumulating BTC.
Okay.
In the meantime, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment so that we can bring you more value
And share.
and share the video. See you next time. Peace.
Bye.